So I'm going to end off with just a few comments on what has changed for Yamana since we started using this. So I'm going to give an example of the actionable data piece. So pre-social license to operate index, here's a couple of points that speak to it's an example strategic plan, but these are sort of real issues. So the bullet points in the strategic annual plan for the community relations team were around hosting sort of a festival type day where we provide health clinics and other important health things to communities. We're providing financial support to local NGOs for economic development. We were providing education to schools, and we were going to update a stakeholder map. Now, I don't want to say any of these issues weren't important for the community, but none of them spoke to the critical issues that people said that they were concerned about, such as concern about tailings, concern about dust and vibrations, people wanting more jobs. The then post social licensing index sort of example strategic plan had things like this is within 1 year hosting community roundtables to jointly study mine related vibrations and co develop an action plan. So, speaking directly to one of the critical issues from the neighboring communities and doing it in a way, in an approach that was going to immediately generate trust. So we weren't just disappearing and coming back with data to say, well, it's not really an issue. We were bringing them into the process of studying the problem and co-creating an issue. So not just the change on the topical issues that we were addressing, but how we approach those issues. Similarly, we at that site we initiated community participatory environmental monitoring and enhanced dialogue on tailings dam. So it was a complete, in my mind, a complete 90-degree or even 180-degree turn on the annual strategic plan. It was actually, I would argue, it was actually strategic as opposed to before, which we were just doing sort of development actions. And the last point I think I'll make here is, again, coming back to this slide on the visibility. You see I circled this last operation, the performance in Q2. These are actual results. And this is the first time we've seen a fairly dramatic drop in trust. Within sort of a week or so of everybody getting the results, I was on a phone call with our Senior Vice President of Health, Safety, and Sustainable Development, Senior Vice President of Operations, General Manager of that mine site, my colleague Ivan, who's the Regional Director of Health, Safety, and Sustainable Development, and the Community Relations team. So that kind of phone call has never really happened for me, unless there was an issue at one of the sites, unless there was a protest, unless there was a roadblock, unless there was some sort of critical, I don't want to say emergency, but some sort of significant issue. So having this data speaks to the power of being able to convene the really important people within an organization to ask really simple questions like, what's going on? And what's the action plan? How are we going to rectify this situation? And to be able to have the power is to be able to have that conversation before it gets bad, before something more significant like a roadblock happens at your operation. That's what this tool gives us, is that ability it's like the early warning sign to say, okay, something's not right here, we need to fix it. But then you have the data to dig into it and say, okay, well, let's take a look at what's actually going on here. So I'm going to end it there and pass the mic over.